she'll go back to the field. She'll have to. Then... and I can go.
Wait, this isn't the one I'm supposed to be on.
When a psychiatrist seeks to learn more about the depravity of the human mind and what provokes such wicked acts, he seeks out one of the most notorious serial killers in captivity. But as told by author Garen Cockrell, he soon realizes there is much more the killer can teach him. Performing this tale are Peter Dyseth, Mike Delgadio, Atticus Jackson, and Erica Sanderson. So beware of what you'll learn when gauging the capacity for evil.
So I own 3 of those. I don't know. I own 2 of
Everything was
other
gray.
ones. I don't know.
Notice that.
Text my girl again and see
Oh
what
god.
Gray floors and stone walls, themselves gray, but a darker shade from the aged chunks of stone that made up the halls that Carson was currently walking through. He felt like he had gone through time and somehow ended up in a prison from the Dark Ages. It was all bars, moist walls, like something out of a Victor Hugo novel. Above him, the lights flickered, dimming the already bright glow.
spooky, ain't it?
There we go.
The guard ahead of him turned to face Carson with a grin on his face. In the weak
He must have
glow of
exactly
their bulbs,
60
it looked like a
cards.
skeleton was smiling back at him.
Oh,
Carson shifted his bag and did his best to smile back and hide his growing dread.
Yeah, I didn't even know places like this existed.
guess we could do that maybe.
Not many do. Proper
Have
treatment and all.
3.
Folks we keep here, though.
Or actually, no, let's try 4, since I have 4
There's still people.
of them.
The guard stopped at a massive steel door. His keys jingled like sleigh bells, appropriate for the constant chill Carson had down his spine.
If we get rid of 100, no, we keep 1
He slid his
researchers.
key into the lock and pushed the door open. The sounds echoed through the hall loud enough that Carson feared the entire ceiling would come crashing down around them.
You okay, Doc?
Carson realized he
I
was
also
clutching his
realized
bag
I
to his
need
chest.
to.
He lowered his arms and smoothed out his tie.
Yeah, a touch claustrophobic.
Is that right?
Need to do this real
The guard
quick.
stepped aside and allowed Carson to pass through the doorway. This area was much different than the previous hall. Thick cords ran to alarm bells, and there were numerous cameras scattered around the hall. Every conceivable angle was covered. The door slammed shut with a thunderous boom that sent Carson nearly jumping out of his skin.
Claustrophobia, eh?
The guard locked the door and walked past Carson with a chuckle. Before Carson nearly found himself in the bowels of one of the oldest prisons on American soil, he found himself in another kind of prison, at least to him. He was never one for learning, hated the idea of classes, but his fascination with the darkest dredges of humanity led him to psychiatry. He was smart, eerily so, and most in his family wondered where he got it from. His father was a case of beer a night drunk who would have beaten
Jay
Carson
has
and his mother
been
senseless on a
a
regular
long
basis.
day
He
for
worked
me.
dead sheets to the wind so often that his balance was shot. Any attempt at exertion usually sent him spiraling and desperate for something to keep him off the ground. But living with a man on the edge of violence for his entire life didn't breed much courage in Carson. Contempt he had plenty of, but courage was in short supply. His only escape from the hell of his abusive father and the shame of his weak-willed mother was school.
That's not
There as soon as he
great
possibly
for
could.
start.
Scholarships carried
Yeah,
him as far away as he
is,
could get
huh?
from that miserable
Proposing?
experience. Except that
What's the hello, Jay?
wasn't much better. He was too impatient, and the academic world moved too slow for him.
But what's pretty?
He devoured everything he could and pushed himself through year after year as quickly as he could, until finally he was done and
Damn.
could get what he wanted. freedom from the prison of academic life, and a deep dive into the most depraved of human minds. It was the darkness that he was most fascinated by, the human capacity for evil.
But I
What
can help
drove
you
men
as
to
well,
madness?
Jay.
What drove them to kill? What drove a man to beat his wife and son with a broken chair leg? He had done hours and hours of research. It was countless days in medical libraries and case files searching for the truths of the mind. It wasn't long before his research caught the attention of academic types he loathed so much. They threw money at him, gave him an office, offered him teaching opportunities. He wasn't much interested in any of that, but a man has to survive, and funding is something that even the most jaded of researchers it
That's
also gave him the
annoying.
legitimacy that got him in the door of Barstow Prison for the criminally insane, where the minimal courage he had was running on empty. The idea of coming into this place and speaking with what most would consider a monster was fascinating to him. It was exciting, life-changing. Now, in the musty, dim hallway, walking with an overweight, smug prison guard, Carson found himself questioning the intelligence of this endeavor. He could never face his own drunk of a father, and now he had the nerve to come speak with a serial killer? One that ripped and slashed his way through dozens of people, no less? Who did he think he was?
It's just up here. We keep them separate. He riles up the others. It's like they smell something on him.
They passed several solid doors, windowless, but each with smaller access panels on them.
Do they see anything at all outside of their cells?
1 hour a week, one at a time.
That seems barbaric.
You seen what they've done? You'll find it a kindness.
Dang it.
The guard pulled another set of keys.
Had I
from the
actually been able to
belt
do
and
it,
unlocked
or
another door.
succeed, I would have gotten rid of the double turbo energy. Since that counts as
All you need to get your Clarice Starling on.
a
Cross the red line.
single energy.
Make physical contact.
Even though it counts for 2
Pulls the door
in
open.
cards, it's a single energy.
The guard shakes his head.
You follow the rules, you'll be fine. Cameras watching everything. Anything goes wrong, I'll be in lickety split.
Carson's mouth is dry, his palms slick.
Huh? Wait,
Hurry,
what?
Doc. They're people, right?
That skeleton smile again.
This Pokemon may have up to 4 tool cards. If it loses this ability, just...
His eyes, and it
Huh.
Carson's stomach. He glared at the guard and stepped across the threshold.
Have fun, Doc.
The door slammed shut and the lock echoed as it clicked into place, leaving Carson alone in the corridor.
I'm not gonna win this match, but
Ahead, he saw the chair and edge of the table he was promised.
that's interesting to know.
That it would allow him to make his legs work. He hadn't moved at all since stepping through the door. His heart gave a lurch when he heard the twinkle of the shifting chains. Get yourself together, Carson thought. This is what you've been working towards. He took a breath and walked down the corridor.
It doesn't matter, I'm gonna lose anyways.
Set up additional lighting, probably
But
to make the
that's
picture clearer.
still interesting to know that Reverroom's EX has that ability.
Had not brought himself to look at his subject.
Because I was genuinely confused why he was attaching multiple
While he unpacked his
tool cards to a single
desperately
Pokemon.
searched for the spine he thought he had when he came to this place. Carson removed a handheld camera and a recording device from his bag and placed it in the center of the table. The chains rattled and Carson froze. He heard a soft chuckle.
Attach 3 tools to your
Took a breath
Pokemon.
and
Well,
continued
that I
to
have to
scout,
have
cursing his
3
weakness.
Pokemon out
He flipped
and
the camera on
the
and
right
placed it
tool
on the table.
cards. Or the right
He
cards
saw
that
his subject
equal
swing
tool
the
cards.
chains. Carson's pulse went into overdrive when he noticed the man was staring at him. Carson lowered himself into the chair and shifted it closer to the table. He removed a folder from his bag and placed it on the table in front of him. It was thick, stuffed with copied case files, photographs, and newspaper clippings. Carson reached over and started the audio recorder and the camera.
Interview 1. Dr. Carson Neely with subject named...
Just gonna jump right in? Not even a hello. You even gonna look at me, Mr. Shrink?
The chained man shifted, and the chains sang their song. It chilled Carson to hear it.
I don't want to go
Carson
first,
looked
though.
at him. He forced himself to look up at the man in front of him.
Okay, now that's a better hand.
Cold yellow eyes of his father. But the man shifted again, and Carson saw him as he truly was. Middle-aged, brunette hair, graying.
No, I think we start with Iron Hands and then go into Roaring Moon.
He didn't look it. He was muscular, and his face was covered with several days of beard growth. He was tightly chained to the chair, along with chains connecting to the walls and floor. They had him locked down as if he had some kind of superhuman strength, like a rabid animal. It was almost sad.
There we go.
Mr. Arnold Samuel Jefferson.
Carson opened the folder, and the history of this man was laid out before him.
The girls call me Arnie.
He said this with a grin, a satisfied, thirst-quenched grin.
What would you like me to call you, Mr. Jefferson?
Well, I'm a friendly guy, Doc. You can call me Arnie. That's how the world knows me, anyway.
Is it of concern to you that the world also knows you as a monster?
Is that why you're here, Doc?
Dr. Neely.
I'll call you whatever the fuck I want, Mary.
Arnie shifted in his chair.
You want to rise out of me? See what I'll do?
Carson lowered his eyes to his folder. He flipped through it in hopes that the silence would diffuse the growing tension. This was not going at all the way he had hoped. He was not expecting such aggression from a man who had been locked.
I'm sorry, my guy.
He
That
shifted
is pain.
25 years he's been hidden away here, and supposedly not a single interaction with any outsider in that entire time. Based on what he has read and learned about this man, Carson doesn't think he has changed in the slightest. This is not a man beaten down by 2 decades of isolation. Carson turned to a photo of Arnie at the time of his incarceration. Aside from the slight graying at his temples, he looked much the same. Carson scratched a few notes into his legal pad.
You find something interesting in there?
There's a lot of interest in you, Mr. Jefferson. You've had quite an impact in the lives of a lot of people.
Isn't that why they wrote stories about me?
That's interesting and not fun.
Death chimes was a That doesn't make a fucking bit of sense. I didn't kill anyone with a bell, did I?
Although if I put him and my Roaring Moon into the active zone,
That will sing,
it
but it
won't matter because
Are you proud of that?
poison is a special condition.
They turned me into a legend. And I wonder how many of those people wearing those t-shirts, getting those tattoos, how many of them know I'm real?
I'm surprised he didn't
Here in the dark.
do that.
Wait,
Yeah. Just, yeah, sure, poison's his.
Gave that smirk.
There's the poison now.
Forgive me, Mr. Jefferson. From what I've read, your life is forfeit. You've been given more consecutive life sentences than anyone else in the history of criminal justice.
Dang, I'm sorry, bro.
This place seems more than adequate in terms of security.
Arnie gave a shrug. and
4
looked
turns,
at
this guy's dead.
chair. The 2 men remained in silence for a moment. Carson took a moment to compose himself. He needed to get this conversation under some kind of control. He straightened the folder almost absent-mindedly.
why are you
I will take
Dr.
2 price cards, please. Thank you very much.
Carson's name in a menacing, almost insulting way.
Why do you want to be in the room with the boogeyman?
I do like my these card sleeves, so yeah, I'm not a big fan of the pink, not pink, the green. But it's more of like a mint green, so I'm semi-fine with it.
Dozens of teeth. I would be foolish to not be afraid, chains or not.
What are you after? You writing a book about me too?
Not exactly. I'm researching evil and the capacity of humanity
Bruh.
to commit acts.
Bruh, also.
Evil!
Arnie cackled. His laugh was heavy and echoed throughout the
Boop.
room.
I can save
Boop.
you a lot of trouble. It ain't real.
Boop.
That's Sunday school or shit.
You don't think
Boop.
a person can be described as evil?
Evil is a place to hide what you don't understand, what scares you. It's a good place for them to stick me. I don't find what I did to be evil. I wanted to do it. I felt the need to do it. So I did it.
I think I'm definitely gonna have to maybe search through my cards to see if I have some
Evil.
Miraidon EXs.
What about it?
You murdered an entire squad of police officers and strung their body parts up like Christmas decorations. Surely
It's
that's
either
evil.
that or I buy the lead deck or a deck in general that I know has this stuff. Now I could boss up this and take 2 prize. You know, I'm just gonna do that.
Carson checked the folder.
She being Jennifer Rogers.
Thank you very much. 120. There's 2 more prize cards taken.
What about any of them makes a man do what he does?
Most men don't try to kill those they're interested in.
Yes, that does another 10 damage, but he only has.
What you did.
Well, they only have, I should say. Actually, sound guy, Pat. I'm guessing it's a guy.
Arnie cracked his neck.
Only has that, so.
It's drive. The strong hunt the weak. I wanted Jenny just like I wanted the others, so I took them. Then I murdered them. She was the lucky one who got away. Or maybe not so lucky in the end.
You're proud of what happened to her?
Arnie gets what he wants in the end. One way or the other. Ain't no escape.
Give me my 1 energy back, even though it won't matter.
Carson
And
tapped
just because we're adding a
She escaped you.
wrong energy capsule to this thing
It's all right here. She survived.
to get the double win of take all my prize cards and empty out their Pokemon.
No, I didn't destroy her body. You're right, Doc. She escaped that.
Or at least I'm calling it a double win.
Blamed, though. I fucked that up, but good. That she didn't escape. Couldn't escape. In the end, it was worse, wasn't it? In the end, she became me, and I got her anyway.
Carson glanced at his watch. His time was running short.
Ain't this what you wanted, Doc? Aren't I giving you the information you came looking for? You want to know about evil. I'm telling you that there ain't no such thing. I killed those people because I wanted to.
Next year,
I wasn't driven
I
to do
think
so by some
the first
supernatural force.
poke tournament that I go to,
And watch them spill onto the
I
floor.
think I'm gonna.
I wanted to hear the
As much as I don't want to take the cards out of my binder, I'm probably gonna have to take the cards out of my binder,
taste.
and I'll build this deck and try it out. I don't know.
Fuck's evil got to do with that?
You don't you see that in itself what you're describing?
So we attach that. We attach that.
Desire.
Grab 1.
Maybe it's genetics. Maybe the right switches have to be thrown.
Son of a.
Cut you a few times, but
Damn
that
it.
desire is there for anyone.
Carson started in his seat. Arnie leaned forward.
Something I say hit a little close to home. Your dad take his hands to you?
He was a drunk. Something that will make me want to murder someone over.
Maybe not.
Okay, we will try Messagoza.
You have fear in you though, don't you? Fear ain't that far
We
away.
succeed.
And once that gets out, maybe
We
you
will
and I
take
need to have another
this bad boy.
I thought I was evil.
We do this. We do this.
I'm not evil.
Who are you trying
We
to
will
convince?
retreat.
You
We will
already
energy search for electric energy.
Carson is back home. His mother is crying.
We will also
into the living room.
earthen vessel.
He's a master
1 to try.
Carson
No,
stood
we'll
in the
grab
center of the
2
room,
dark.
paper in his hand. It was dripping with
We will then
blood.
energy generator.
Blood covered the
Nothing. We failed that.
television.
We will earthen vessel. Another dark energy to grab 1 of each.
On his face, though, a grin spread through the blood running
And then
down
we
his
will
face.
pass.
He can't hurt us. He can't hurt us anymore.
At Carson's feet, his father's massacred body lay in a mess of blood.
When this Pokemon's knocked out, flip a coin. If heads, your opponent can't take any pressure. Oh, that's annoying.
Back in the prison, Carson is shivering in his chair. Carson leaned forward and stopped the tape recorder.
During Pokemon checkup, put 2 damage counter on your opponent's poisoned Pokemon. So I need to be poisoned, I think, before that works. Switch.
was on the edge of his chair. This doctor was confessing a murder.
Yeah, he's gonna do that.
He could nab this psycho and be a hero in the papers. He reached for the phone to dial the police, but hesitated. He should subdue the suspect first. He didn't need any cops to come down here and steal his thunder. Besides, this little pipsqueak nerd wasn't going to...
That's annoying.
Carson spoke through the monitor.
It felt like relief.
Jimmy grabbed his keys and his baton and slid it into his belt. He turned to the lockbox on the shelf behind him.
I think I just have to try and get
The revolver was loaded and ready
this
inside.
dude up.
He flipped it out and slid it into the holster on his belt.
She burned him out. She was so proud of me.
Christ, the mother was part of it. Jimmy hurried out the guard room.
Oh, shoot, that's right. It does 6,
His things.
He's the sure
and then the 2.
Doc, tell the big bad killer your secret.
The heavy metal door thumped and creaked as it opened, and Jimmy entered.
Time's up, Bernie.
Dr. Neely, can you come over here, please?
Jimmy had his hand resting on the butt of his gun.
Of course. Let me just pack the rest of my stuff.
Carson filled his bag.
We will do this. We will Mesogoza try and get another
Bag over his shoulder.
Roaring Moon. I think we succeed. We get another Roaring
He
Moon.
raised his hand and plunged his pen right into the soft flesh beneath Jimmy's chin. He gave a shove, and the
Then we will Charisma.
into his brain.
This.
Even curl a finger around the gun.
Shoot, I need one more.
Fence.
And I would have been able to take 2. We're knocking it out, though, before it can start poisoning us anymore.
Carson knelt and grabbed the massive keyring and ripped it free from the belt. He also slid Jimmy's gun free of its holster
Yes.
and slipped it into his belt.
That works so much for us.
Like a ballet.
Carson approached Arnie, keys in hand.
This is it.
This is what?
Yours.
Carson began unlocking the chains.
I came here to get you out. I need you to teach me. Make me like you. Make me a legend.
One by one, the chains fell away. Arnie rubbed his wrists as they were freed, still red from the shackles. Each chain dropping to the ground was a song in his ears. Finally, Carson unlocked the chest restraints, and Arnie was free.
We have to hurry. The guard rotation will happen at any time.
Arnie nodded and stood up. Carson took a step back. Arnie was bigger than he even realized. He was looking at Carson with a strange look on his face. It took a moment for Carson to realize Arnie was holding out his hand. Carson relaxed and took his hand. Arnie gave it a good shake.
I want to thank you. You got me out of here much sooner than I was planning.
We do this. Hopefully we don't fail Mesogoza. We succeed in Mesogoza.
Instead,
And with that, we take Tandem Unit and get 2 more Pokemon.
Arnie yanked Carson forward and stepped aside. Carson flew across the room and slammed into the wall. His head cracked hard against the stone wall, and his vision blurred.
What? Fuck.
Arnie grabbed him by the neck and leaned close to Carson's ear.
You never lost an evil man.
With that, Arnie slammed Carson's head against the hard gray stone. Carson was dead after the 3rd time, but Arnie had 20 years of pent-up need. He bashed Carson into the stone until his head was nothing but pulp. He let Carson's body fall to the ground and rubbed his blood over his hands.
Been too long for that.
Arnie said with pleasure as he grabbed the keys and gun from Carson.
Oh shoot, I
Pulled
thought
Carson's
I
bag off
had
his shoulder.
paths.
Came round
Ah,
his
that's
foot, not
bad.
with the head getting in the way. He dumped the contents onto the floor and grinned when the car keys dropped out. Keys in hand, Arnie tossed the bag away. He made his way towards Jimmy's body, stopping to grab the baton, but something caught his eye. He knelt next to Jimmy and popped open the pocket on his belt.
Well, look.
I need
He pulled a rather large
to
penknife
get
from the case and flipped it open.
a ancient energy capsule.
Beautiful.
The lights went dark. An alarm blasted into the air. The red emergency lights came to life. Arnie smiled again.
We got work to do.
He began pulling off Jimmy's uniform. alarm sounded over and over, echoing through the stone halls of the prison. Dozens of armored guards filed into the long hallway. The alarm echoed around them, announcing their arrival, like the deep chime of a high bell in a church tower.
I just need to get 2 more energy and a freaking. That is so not good. Kind of surprised they're still actually keeping Mimikyu out. They could just Glamora in though.
To learn about our season pass program. 25 episodes, each over 2 hours long, and 3 exclusive bonus episodes, all for only $19.
Do I have I do. I have 3. That's pointless, dude. I'm just gonna do this and get my energy back. What? 280. So I can only Roaring Moon can only last 1 more attack. That's really about it.
There's a feeling you get at Sunnybrook. This place is special. There are special places, like a hybrid operating room that saves precious minutes when a life is in balance, and special treatments, like ultra-precise radiation therapy, and special people, specialized in their fields, and passionate about your care. Sunnybrook is special, just like you. Learn more at sunnybrook.ca/special.
Business notifications getting out of hand, buried under an avalanche of customer emails, texts, and social media messages? Keep your edge with Thrive Small Business software and never miss a message again. Thrive offers one solution to communicate, market, and run your business. Put simply, small businesses run better on Thrive. Get Command Center for free today at thrive.ca. That's THRYV.ca. Terms and conditions apply. Free plans have limited functionality.
This is a horror storytelling podcast. Our tales are dark and disturbing, intended to shake you up. Listen at your own risk. We are all around you. And tonight, there will be no sleep. Brace yourself for the No Sleep Podcast. For the dark hours, terrified, close your eyes. Tales of horror to frighten and disturb. Join us as the sleepless hours tick past.
It's the No Sleep Podcast. I'm David Cummings. Thanks for joining us. On this week's show, we have 5 tales about terrifying travelers, raging revenge.
Now, I could
and
amp you
dreadful
very
descent.
much. to have one card left, but they kill me. And I'm not doing that.
Time off for some minor excuse, I believe. What was it again? Oh, yes, to give birth and raise a child. Nothing too time-consuming, really. But while Rima has been away from the mic, she has spent some time at the computer, and we're thrilled to present one of Rima's stories this week. Once again, a member of the No Sleep team has proven to be multi-talented. So we welcome you back, Rima, even if only in thanks for sharing yet another of your talents with us. I'd like to bring to your attention called Hors d'oeuvres, coordinated by No Sleep author Raphael Marmol. This book is a collection of bite-sized horror stories from some of No Sleep's best writers, many of whom you've heard on the podcast. And from June 4th through the 11th, the book is on sale for only 99 cents. That's a steal and well worth buying, but here's the best part of the purchase. All proceeds of Hors d'oeuvres will be donated to the charity Scares That Care, a non-profit charity fighting the real monsters of childhood illness, severe burns, and
I don't win this. I know that much.
facing these extraordinary hardships. Please check the show notes on our website for a link to where you can get your own copy of this excellent book and help those in need at the same time. And finally, I've been negligent and taken far too long to recommend an outstanding new podcast from our friends who created The Black Tapes and Canis. The new show is a
Nope, I don't win this.
documentary called Rabbits. It's hosted by Carly Parker, and when her best
Unless I can magically pull another
mysterious circumstances, Carly
future booster capsule,
her head first into
I don't win this.
mysterious game known only as Rabbits. Soon, Carly begins to suspect that Rabbits is much more than just a game, and that the key to understanding Rabbits might be the key to the survival of our species and the universe as we know it. USA Today calls Rabbits twisted and addictive, and has been described as Ready Player One meets Serial meets the TV show Lost. You can subscribe today at rabbitspodcast.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. Rabbits. It's television for your ears. And so, before you fall down the rabbit hole into that adventure, why not settle in for our stories as we kick off this week's show?
I know it's shorter than normal. And I'm very sorry about that, but thank you. I'll open these quickly, but thank you to everybody who's came notes and those who ever watched the stream offline. I hope you all enjoy. I hope to see you all next time. And let's see what's our pack. Yeah, let's go right around. And I hope to see you all next time.